Hi, welcome to Acharya Coding School. In this class, we can discuss about disk partitioning and file system management. So we can discuss each and everything in detail. So before going to this, what is disk partitioning? And we can discuss each and every component in detail. For example, if you take a hard disk, is like a bookshelf. So in this bookshelf, so what are you doing? So you are organizing the books based upon the sessions. So whether it is belongs to Ramayana or sacred books, or as whether it is belongs to poetry books. So you can divide based upon the categories, right? Same as like, so we are here organizing the for better data. So the partitioning means dividing. Partition. So part means we are dividing. So we are dividing the hard disk into multiple logical parts. So when you divide hard disk into multiple logical parts, so each part acting as like a separate drive. So that's why we are with the concept of disk partitioning. So why we need of partitioning? So why we need partitioning? So it's to separate the operating systems, data and applications as well. So to install multiple operating system. So in the if you partition the hard disk into multiple logical parts, so in those, so in the one hard disk you can install a Linux operating system. In the one operating system, in the one hard disk you can install the Windows operating system. Same as like we can install multiple operating systems. So which we are using for the better performance. So instead of like only one hard disk which we are using for the only for single data, we are using the this instead of this introducing this concept the partitioning. So we are dealing with the hard disk with multiple logic parts. So which we are using for the better performance, and there will be like a data security also high. We can take easier backups and recoveries as well. So everything we can do. And we have a concept like which we have discussed in the about, this is the root. We already discussed in the previous classes. So which we are using. Here we are using the root as root partition. And we have like a home which we are using for the user files. And we have like a boot. So which we are mainly using for the kernel and the boot files. So we have like a command swap. So which we are using for the virtual memory. So if you want to know about the existing partitioning in our systems, so you can go to the Linux mission and you can give ls blk. So if you give this command, so you can get to know how many types of partitions available in our system. So we have like a NVMe. So these are the different types of partitions available in our system. So in those we have like a disk partitioning and part partitioning. So different types of partitionings we have. So we have like a sessions of a hard disk. So the mainly hard disk is a we are using the big storage box. So we are dividing the storage box into different sessions. So for better usability. So the each partition which we have divided can hold separately and it has like a different file systems. So you can install multiple missions on the each partitions which you have divided. And we can know how many file types and how files are organized and stored on our partitions. So we have like a different types of HT4 and XFS, btrfs. So we have like a different types of file system types. So we can get to know about the partition tables, how we are doing, and how can we know about each and everything. So in these partitions tables, we have like a MPR, MBR or versus GPR, GPT. So we have like a different types of partition tables we have available. So before going to this partition tables, how it came, we can discuss with the sessions of hard disk. So we can go to the, for example, if you take the, let us divide each into the stages. So for better. So this is the sections of a hard disk. So for example, think this. This is the sessions how we are dividing. We can get to know each and every one in detail. For example, if you see here, in the MBR or GPT. So this is the partition table which we are using. So from those, we are dividing the partition. For example, partition 1, partition 2, partition 3. From those, let us think this partition 1 as boot. And next partition we have root. And next partition we have home. So we are dividing the hard disk into different sessions. So if you think this is this space as unallocated space. So if you want to install any new servers, so or for example, if you're working with any new systems, so at the time you can use this unallocated space and you can work on your process. So we have like a booster, so which we are mainly using like it contains the partition table information, and we have like a data area, so where our actually files and folders are stored, and we have like a unallocated space, so which we are using empty portion, so we can use it for the later. So if any new requirement comes, so then you can use this unallocated space. For example, if you run this command sudo fdisk -l, so you can see here how many devices names and how starting and ending, so different types of sectors and sizes and the types of the files. So we have like a Linux file system, BIOS, boot, EFI systems. So we have like a different types of, and we can get to know about the disk, and we can know about the NVM, LB, and we can know about the size, how many bytes we have used, so and how which type of disk model we are using, elastic block store. So different types of disk type identifiers. So we can get to know everything. So we can get to know about the disk name, and we can get to know about the size, and we can get to know about the type. So whether it is a Linux files types, so and BIOS types, so swap type, or else like different types of we can get to know, and we can know about the boot table. So we can get to know everything by using this command. So we have discussed about the sections of a hard disk. So we can discuss about the partition tables. In this, we can partition tables. We are having like a MBR and GPT. So these are the main. So the mainly the partition table, it mainly tells us the where each partition begins and where it ends. So in this partition table, we can get to know. So it where it actually started and where it actually ended. So we can get to know everything. We can discuss about the MBR and GPT in detail. So the MBR means master boot record. So the GPT means guide partition table. It's a in the MBR, it's a older version. So mainly like it's a traditional partition systems, but it only supports like a four partitions only. Maximum four partitions are only supported in this MBR. Means only we can divide the table into four sessions. So for example, if you take the GPT model, in this we can divide into 128 sections our hard disk, so we can extend the hard disk as well. We can extend our the sessions, how many sessions we can want, we can depends upon the use case. So the mainly primary we are using the 128 sessions. So we can divide into prime 128 partitions. So it has like a 9.4 gigabytes. So it has like a large data. So which we can using for the storing purpose. But only here we are using the 2 terabytes. And we have like a its boot data only supports like a only in the first sector in the NBR. So it mainly stores the partition information in the first section. So for example, if we take the 512 bytes, so it's mainly like only storing the information in the first section only. So for example, if we have discussed in the MBR. So for example, if you know in the first section itself, we are know about this information. So it's mainly used in the BIOS systems. So the BIOS are also older version. So that's why MBR is the older and traditional partitioning system. And we have like a latest model and modern partitioning table. So which we are using nowadays, guide partitioning table. So it's mainly like supports 128 partitionings and it's mainly used in the UEFI. So which we are using in the modern versions. And we have like a different partitioning concepts. So the main primarily we are dividing the you can primary partitioning concepts. We have like a primary and as well as extended, logical, swap, and mount port. So we have like a different types of partitionings we have. So we can discuss each and every one in detail. So the primary partitioning which we are using, this is the main partitioning. So where we can install on our operating systems. So which we can using for the storing our data. If we take the MBR, so for example, if we take it is a MBR, it only allows the 4 partitioning. Partitioning 1, partitioning 2, partitioning 3, partitioning 4. But in GPT, we can use the 128 primary partitions. So we have like a extended partitions. So it's a special partitioning that hold more partitionings. So it's mainly like acts as a container for multiple logical partitions. So we can divide each partition into separate sessions and we can utilize the partitions. In how many partitions we want, we can utilize the disk. So it's mainly used inside our extended partitions. So we are using like a swap. So we already discussed swap mainly acts as a virtual memory, and we have like a mount point and logical partitioning. So which we can create it inside an extended partitions. So we can divide among the logical partitions. So we can limit by only the operating system which we are using. Thank you.